The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 164 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, July 28th, 2020. I am your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going?
Eric, that's good, man. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm in a different location for
I
tonight.
was going to say, you got a little bit different scenery tonight, huh?
Yeah, I'm in the Gander outdoor and grill studio, I guess.
Nice.
I'm looking around the backyard to see what else is outside. But no, I'm outside enjoying this nice weather. It's fantastic.
So if you guys hear crickets in the background, it's because James is outside, not because I have a new sound on the soundboard. So
Isn't there crickets every episode?
yeah, right. Every joke we make.
Bah, bah, bah. Wow. And we're off and running, just like that.
There we go. That's how we do it. All right. Well, we got a race to talk about. It was the Super Start Batteries 400 from Kansas Speedway. James and I don't think had real high hopes for a super exciting 400-mile race at Kansas, but kind of delivered, didn't it, James?
Yeah, it was a good midweek race.
Yeah.
The rules package running under the lights delivered again on a 1.5 mile track.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else went? What could go wrong, right? It was good.
Yeah, this aero package is definitely made for nighttime racing. That is for sure. We just need to run them all at night. Period.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I will say that like Michigan was better last year than it's been previous years with this package.
Yeah,
and that was during the day. So,
but we've talked on and off about this rules package. Different tracks, different places, everywhere we go, and we hate it and we love it and we hate it again. And
wait, so what you're saying is that maybe one rule package doesn't work for every racetrack?
That's right. Yeah.
Really?
That would be the assumption, right?
Go figure.
But the one constant thing that seems to be coming out of this rules package, other than restarts are fantastic, anywhere you go almost,
yeah,
is that this thing performs at nighttime. It really does.
Yep.
And this was a good, entertaining race from start to finish. I mean, we had action all over the place. Cautions and accidents, and I mean everything you want in a NASCAR race. It was a great mix of a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Let's before we get into the race, let's be sure to mention that Denny Hamlin took home the win, sneaking one out at the end, led 57 laps on the day. So it's not like he lucked into it, but one of the contenders up front at the end of the race.
The drive for 5, the fifth win of the season. And I guess this was the halfway point, right? This was in the actual season, yeah. So the full season.
5th victory, 11th top 10 finish in 2020. 4th time in his career that he's won 5 or more races in a season. He did it in 2010, 2012, 2019, and 2020.
Yeah, man. He's
42 victories, man.
If he's finishing in the top 10, he's got a top 5 with it this year. He's climbing up the chart. He's gonna, at this rate, there's guys on the list that he's going to pass on the all-time wins list. Tony Stewart is there at 49 is one of them, and
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of catching his teammate Kyle Busch in more ways than one here too.
Yeah,
this season.
I was watching Dale Jr. Today doing his Ask Jr. on YouTube, and I don't remember how they got into discussion, but they got into discussion of trophies, and they asked him if he had all of his most popular driver trophies. And he said that he wants to build a trophy case because for the biggest reason is that he doesn't know where all of his trophies are.
Oh gosh.
And he says, he's there's got to be a couple missing, and he wants to build the case just so he can see what's missing.
Well, he doesn't have that many of them.
Right.
So
well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, but that's where I was going with this. Is he mentioned like what do you do if you're like he's got 20 some. And he says, what do you do if you're somebody like Denny or Harvick or somebody who's got 40 wins or more? And
well, like Kyle Busch, I mean, geez,
right.
Oh man, he's got 212 over the 3 series.
Yeah.
I mean, golly. Yeah.
So,
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's and I don't know, Eric. I don't know if you've been to any race shops in
Nope.
North Carolina, but I know a lot of the a lot of the teams, they have the trophy cases, in the lobbies a lot of the time. Like Joe Gibbs Racing has it, Stuart Haas. Um, they all have their trophies on display, but I'm assuming that those are either some of the real trophies, or replicas too. I'm sure they make more than one
Right.
for a lot of these guys. But yeah, Denny's running out of room. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for him. 42nd victory, 525 NASCAR Cup Series races. So
Yeah, he's so he had his worst season ever in 2018, outside of his injury riddled 2013. And ever since then he's been, he's been the most winningest driver since, I think.
Well,
right there.
2018 was the bad year.
Yep.
2018
no wins.
was the year that we were like, Denny's done. He's going to retire.
Yeah.
And here he is.
Yeah.
Favorite for the championship.
Well, he's hit that David Smith number, the famous 39, age 39. So
Yep.
he's at his peak.
Yep.
Yeah. If he, we were disappointed he didn't win the championship last year. We thought he had it, and yeah, this is the year now. Like, if he doesn't get it within this window, he's got this amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
That he's in right now. So yeah, this is, just another. He wasn't super dominant, and that's the sign of. I think another great sign of a championship caliber team. They are, besides that 4 car, it's the 2 of them. But this guy right here, this team, they're P1. They're the favorites.
Yeah, except that they're going
No doubt.
to a championship race at a track that is like Kevin Harvick's backyard.
Kevin Harvick loves it, and if Kyle Busch can somehow figure out what's going on there, he can be dangerous too.
Well, Kyle can be dangerous anywhere. I mean, so can Harvick. I mean, Harvick's shown. I mean, even if he hasn't won at a track, he's still dangerous there. So.
Oh sure, yeah.
But yeah, Denny's definitely getting it done. Certainly, I think I would call him more of a favorite this year than last year. And last year he was a pretty big favorite.
Now, yeah. I mean, he won 6 total races last year. He's already at 5, so
yeah.
he's on his way. I mean, this is a 8, 9, 10 win season at this point. I mean, he's gonna, and that's pretty rare company. You don't see a lot of 10-digit, or double-digit win seasons anymore.
Right.
So if he can get to that milestone, that would be incredible.
Yep. Kansas Speedway has become the 1.5 mile home of the big one.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah,
we've seen some bad wrecks at Kansas. Kansas was the track that potentially took a championship away from Sterling Marlin back in the day. We had that wild crash with Joey Logano and Danica Patrick and Eric Almirola where he broke his back.
And Logano and Kenseth. The duel. Remember that? I mean, that was and that was, just crazy. I mean, that wasn't as far as hard crashes go. That wasn't a hard crash, but that was definitely one of the more intense moments.
Well, this was the one where Kyle spun out coming out of turn 4 and Joey Logano hit him in the front end.
Yeah.
Was last year. Eric Jones about went over, and this year it was.
Yeah, I don't know
Ryan
what it is
Preece,
about this
man.
track. Yeah, he and a colleague of mine, buddy of mine, Derek Winter, tweeted, or maybe it was on Facebook. I don't know. I've my social media blurs at times. But he shared the video and he said he nailed it when he said, as soon as we saw the spin, we knew it was coming and we all clenched when we saw it. And he was exactly right, because I saw that spin coming and I'm just like, oh man, he is in for a huge hit.
Well, he never lifted.
Yeah.
He rode that sucker wide open to that wall. And of course, by the time he got halfway through that apron, there wasn't slowing it down anyway, because it was sideways. But he might have lifted a little earlier and maybe prevented quite the hit. But holy crap.
Can you imagine if these tracks still had grass on the backstretch? That was a thing for a long time. And the blacktop, even if you're flooring it, you're still scrubbing speed. A little bit. You're scrubbing off some speed.
Right. Or if we were back in the 90s where they didn't have the roof flaps, that car they'd have found it in the middle of the infield.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Think Davey Allison at Pocono, or things like that. Those cars were just completely out of control.
The thing is you don't see a ton of wrecks at the end of straightaways at speed, because you're going in a straight line usually, except at the super speedways. you don't usually wreck on the straightaways, but now with all the side drafting and stuff that they're doing and these crazy restarts at Kansas, which I think that's what it is, James, is I think it's that progressive banking they have there now. It allows them to get 3 and 4 wide, and so they're coming off of turn 2, 3 and 4 wide down the back stretch, and that's what creates these huge wrecks. That's when we've historically seen them. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of room. It's very tight quarters. I mean, a 1.5 mile track. You think about it, it's not that big, right?
No.
You go to Michigan or California or wherever, and you kind of can see the size. But these 1.5 miles, they're kind of like, especially at the speeds we're going, they're like a larger bull ring at times.
Right.
Like I feel like Vegas is this way as well, where you've got those tight quarters and you think you've got a lot of room on TV when you watch, but man, when these wrecks happen, and they happen in a hurry on these tracks, and we're seeing it at Kansas with some pretty gnarly accidents.
Yep.
And that one, that was one of the harder looking hits I've seen. I'm trying to think of recent ones, like Bubba Wallace at Pocono was pretty nasty. Jimmy Johnson's had a couple of really hard hits lately, but that one's up there, man. That was a big one.
Yeah, that was huge, and nothing better than seeing him get out of his car ticked off.
Oh, for sure.
Seconds later, I mean.
Well, and I think too, I think we're conditioned now after, the Ryan Newman thing really spooked. I think it spooked us a little bit. And
well, anytime somebody hits a wall like that, like I remember
you get one on that roof a little bit.
The one that really sticks with me was who was it? Eric McClure at Talladega in the Xfinity race several years ago, where he just went wide open. Yeah, he got hurt. And anytime I see a car hit, we saw Danica Patrick made a career out of doing this. But every time you see somebody hit that hard on the inside wall like that, you just immediately go, oh my God, this could be the one. And just to continue to see people walk away from these things is just amazing.
Well, Jeff Gordon at Vegas, remember that one where he hit that weird angle on the wall? Yeah, those inside and usually, thank God the drivers tend to walk away from these inside the wall, inside hits, but man, they are vicious indeed.
Great to see safer barriers in these tracks. I mean, a driver that's hit one will tell you it's not a soft wall, but when you looked at the replays of this thing, that sucker compressed right to the concrete. That took all that energy away in that accident, and likely
the car did its
saved
job
him.
as well.
Yeah.
Car did its job. Wall did its job. We always say kudos to the safety of NASCAR, but we can never say it enough.
Right.
The safety in NASCAR has saved many lives, especially since 2001. That's kind of the stopgap in time there, but always incredible every time you see it. It never ceases to amaze me.
Yep, definitely. Let's see. Again, Denny Hamlin gets the win. Brad Keselowski comes home second. Martin Truex Jr. third. Harvick was up there, finished fourth. Eric Jones rounds out our top 5. Jimmy Johnson continues to lose points. He's pretty much
every week. Yeah. Every week, dude. Every single week. He got the old DVP that keeps popping up on our in our podcast every week. Yep. The vehicle policy. Jimmy. I don't know, Eric. We've seen this from him. I mean, it's definitely the new Jimmy Johnson is a guy who he's just not consistent anymore.
No.
Now that it's at the end, I really do feel like, we've always never wanted to count him out, and as these years are dragging on, and he continues to have. Jimmy Johnson never coughed up points in his career,
right?
And this
not only that, but Jimmy Johnson would get points in races he had no business getting points in.
Exactly, and that's why I when I was going through the notes, I wanted to make note of it, because it's just it's just such a weird thing that he's just this guy now. And even when he's got a little bit more speed in the car, he's just not getting the job done. It's very it stinks, because we want to see him do well in his last season, but this is the new Jimmy Johnson. This is what he is now.
Yeah.
And it sucks. But
yeah, it does, definitely.
The COVID, the missing a race because of COVID, that's outside of Jimmy's control, really. I mean, that's something that happened, and he had to serve his time away from the track. But any chance he's got, he's just coughing him up every week.
I still have confidence that Jimmy can get a win. But obviously he's running out of opportunities to do it.
He's only got how many races left? Just a few before Dover's coming up, and we've got hope for him there. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know. Unless he
Yep.
can maybe sneak a win at Daytona, but like you said, I think you said it last week. He finds a way to crash spectacularly
Yeah.
at Daytona. So
Right.
we'll see. Yeah, I have fingers crossed that Jimmy can pull through, but this is it's more than a trend now. This is just reality. So it is what it is.
Another disappointment. Very disappointed with the result on his end. Matt DiBenedetto gets involved in the wreck.
Yeah.
Just has not lived up to, and it's not his fault, but has
He's
not
been
lived up to the
decent.
expectations this year.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things too. I think seat time and
Yep.
you see it with like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. a little bit too, where he has some flashes, but then you have a race like this where he has an electrical problem that maybe they catch if they have some practice time.
Yep.
It just these guys are going to have kind of a little bit snake bit. Matt's had some good runs, but definitely, last year he really flexed his muscles, whereas this year he's not, he's not performing at the level we wanted him to,
Right.
but that we thought.
Yeah. William Byron looked like he could finally get his first win.
Yeah.
And then it didn't end up working out.
Yep. Yeah. And without Chad Knaus,
Yep.
who was on baby watch.
Yeah, but he was in that command center. So let's talk about the command center, man. So NBC gave us a glimpse at the RCR command center, and it's like straight out of Formula One, man. That's pretty impressive. That's something I didn't know they were doing.
I'm surprised RCR let him in.
I know, right?
Yeah, they really gave him a lot of access.
Well, not only that, but they're like showing this computer simulation that
everything's there.
They're not even making the calls. The computer's telling them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
I know.
I feel like I have a lot of knowledge in NASCAR that I'm pretty much, have a pretty good idea what goes on the inside, and I had no clue about these command centers. And they all got them.
Yeah, no, I know. And this is something I had originally heard about, again, shouting out Paz Reg Pod. That's like my version of Eric Stale Jr. download. But they were the ones who turned me on to it a few months maybe 2 or 3 months ago during the pandemic.
Right.
It was when I had first heard about it, and I never really put much thought into it. I thought, well, RCR is doing this. This isn't a thing. But now that Austin Dillon got that win and Reddick's been running so good, it's kind of got people got their eyes on this thing. So it's very cool to see. I don't understand what the heck's going on with a lot of that stuff, but it's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's neat for sure.
Just so much data. I don't know how, like, looking at that much data would make my brain explode.
Right. I know.
It's there's so much coming in. It's crazy.
Yeah. One thing we talked about, no practice and seat time and all that. How are we going to start the field for the Clash? What are we going to run 4 cars? Because we only qualified for 4 races this year.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? That was supposed to be the road course debut too.
Yeah, and that thunder is going to be stolen.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a bigger question for that's a Steve Phelps question, maybe.
Right? Let me get him on the horn.
That's a great random point by you. Good work.
I've been thinking about it for a while.
You completely threw me off. I didn't know where you were going there. Holy cow. Yeah, there you go.
I've been thinking about it for a while. Here's another one that I've been thinking about for a while. I want you guys to watch on any of the big tracks. When these cars are out there, watch the right roof flap. It's almost never flush with the roof of the car. I think that's an area they're playing with. Yeah. That we're going to see stuff down the road in. Just keep an eye on it. Next time we run on a fast track, it probably won't happen at New Hampshire this weekend. But next time we get to a big track, any 1.5 miles or bigger, watch that right.
Well, Michigan's got the doubleheader coming up, so that'll probably be at the beginning of August. So that'll be one to watch.
You won't find a single car at speed with that roof flap flush. It's always up in the air a little bit, maybe an inch.
Remember when the pit crews used to intentionally body slam the door on the first pit stops?
Yep,
that was always fun.
Or when they would intentionally come up off of the apron on the pace laps at a certain angle to hit the bottom skirt to bend that out.
Yeah, or when they used to grab them by the tailpipes and
right.
They used to pull them out with their hands on the pit road. Jeez, yeah.
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 It's
Oh
always,
yeah,
there's
that's a
always
good point.
something. They're always working
I
somewhere.
didn't even notice that, Eric. So that's a good catch by you.
It's been driving me crazy every
I'm
race,
gonna
and
pay attention to that.
every week I'm like, I gotta mention that on the podcast, and I forget. And because you just mentioned random thing, it made me think of it. I've been wanting to mention it for like since last season. It's been happening since last season. Easy.
And we're off on a tangent.
There we go.
Well done. We always do.
Yep. I don't know. There's not a whole heck of a lot else to talk about with this race, despite it being a good race.
It was a good race that, without going into specifics, I mean, overall, I thought it was just just a great race. Guys had good runs, like Cole Custer continued, a nice bounce back for him. Good run. I thought Daniel Suarez deserved a little bit of credit for his race, last car on the lead lap, but I mean, 18th place finish for him. That's well done.
Yeah, definitely.
Out of those guys. So, Kansas, man, it was really good. I'm gonna miss the midweek races a little bit.
I know, me too.
The 400 miles was a tick long. I think you and I have said a million times we like a 300 miler, but I think NASCAR has learned. I mean, this is we've said it a million times, Eric. This is a throw it against the wall and see what sticks, and we've got something here. We got something here that NASCAR can definitely play with.
Yep.
Moving forward, I really enjoyed the midweek races this year.
I agree.
For the most part. I mean, I like having races on the weeknights. And I don't know about you, but for me, they're easier to watch. I don't know. I'm just not as busy on the weeknights. I can take some time and watch these things. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Right now, I'm not busy on the weekends either. Once things get back to normal, then yeah, I'd prefer weeknight races for sure.
Yeah.
A couple other things I wanted to mention really quick. Cole Custer finished 7th, so another good finish for him.
Yep, very good.
We mentioned drivers that struggled. Joey Logano was involved in a wreck, 35th place finish for him. And then obviously Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes last with the electrical issues. Yeah. So,
what was in there with that crash on lap 175?
Yep.
Other than that, we talked about Jimmy. We hit on a lot of it. So.
Yep. We had our first Truck Series doubleheader this weekend. That went pretty well. Don't really have a whole lot to talk about there, but it was good to see the trucks a couple times.
About Travis Pastrana making his return to the trucks.
Yep,
that was fun.
He ran through the grass once. I knew he'd spin at least once. So
yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what though, for somebody who has not been in a truck in as long as it's been, to go out and run this race with zero practice, I'm impressed.
Yeah, he can drive. He's not going to ever be the greatest driver, but he can drive, man. He can drive.
He's got too much ADD to ever be like great at something.
Yeah.
But he's entertaining at everything he does.
I know. I got excited when I saw he was coming to the track. I just love when Travis is around. It just makes my day.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Just a happy dude. He's just a happy dude and loves to, I don't know, he appreciates the life that he has, I feel like, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he feels like he can do anything.
Yep. Anything else, James, on Kansas? We leave it in the dust?
Let's leave it in the dust, man. We're off.
Okay.
Off and running.
We'll start the news off with a sad note. Maurice Petty passed away this past week. Saturday, Maurice passed away. That was a bummer, 81 years old.
Hall of Famer, Maurice Petty.
Yep.
2014 inductee. What is it? He's accredited with 212 wins as an engine builder.
Yep. Chief engine builder for Petty Enterprises. Like James said, inducted in 2014 in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. First engine builder to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. So, Richard Petty's brother.
Who else? What other Petty? I mean, we know Richard and Lee and Kyle. We know the Pettys, and Maurice is. We know Maurice through the Pettys, and we know what he did. I think if you're a NASCAR, I don't know, like you and I, kind of like semi-historians of it, I guess.
Right.
Maurice Petty is the engine builder. Name other engine builders outside of, I think, Robert Yates and Doug. He's on. You can count him on your hand. He's one of he's just a handful of guys.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. He's there. Mechanics and whatnot, crew chiefs, but engine builders specifically. I mean,
and he built powerhouses.
Ernie Elliott, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ernie Elliott's on there. Yeah.
But other than that, there's not a lot.
Yep. And then I think of the Yates.
Yates
guy.
Definitely. Yates, you think of for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Robert and Doug.
Yep.
Yeah, they were building powerhouses too. But yeah, Ernie Elliott's a good one.
Yep.
But yeah, Maurice Petty, Richard won all those races, but there's a reason he had the best, he had the best cars and best engines too.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. There was a lot more than just Richard there that makes Richard the king.
heck yeah, yep.
So, speaking of Richard, I just watched. This is another random point for you. Last night I watched a large chunk of the 1988 Daytona 500.
Oh, nice.
It just happened to pop up on YouTube, and so I watched a bunch of it, and then I ended up skipping through.
In the hole.
I skipped through to Petty's wreck after a certain point. I watched like the first maybe half hour of the race, and it's like I can't. It was late at night. It's like I can't sit here through this whole thing. So let me skip through. I just wanted to see how they covered the wreck. And so, did you know that Petty got up in the fence, flipped along the fence? They never red flagged that race. They repaired the fence under caution.
Oh,
they just ran caution lap after caution lap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Fans would be screaming about that now.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I know. That'd be terrible.
Let me look here really quick.
Your whole Daytona 500 run under caution.
Since I'm on this tangent, let's go into this. Well, it says they only ran caution for 42 laps.
That's a lot of caution.
Of a 200 lap race. That's almost a quarter of the race they ran under caution.
Yeah. So they must have ran like 30 laps under caution or something.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They have the breakdown. Yeah, right here. 21 laps under caution.
That's going to take like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah, caution at Daytona takes what, 3 minutes a lap or so?
Yep.
That's a long time, man.
Lap
wow.
107 to 127. 21 laps of caution. No red flag.
Jeez. And there's your history lesson for the day.
There you go. So anyway, that's another tangent for us. Yep. More news. Dover announces no fans at Dover Speedway. I don't know what the hell it's called now.
Dover International Raceway?
I don't think so. I think is it International Raceway?
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
It's changed its name a handful of times.
Yeah. I think it's just Dover Speedway now.
International Speedway. Okay. Oh, I got it. I almost had it.
That's right. Yeah, it's the same as Daytona, DIS. That's right.
Yep.
No fans there. No surprise there. We already know no fans at Michigan as well.
Yep.
I think they're planning on fans at Daytona for both the road course and
and that's just, don't get me started. I don't even want to go down that road.
Well, should we go there? We're going to go there, James.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
It took Major League Baseball 4 days, James.
Oh God,
4 days.
We've already, idiots.
So here's the thing, and I know you don't want to talk about this, so we'll get off of it really quick. But
go ahead, man, do your thing.
I think that NASCAR is doing. I don't want to be political. Okay, NASCAR should be testing. They're not testing. I think that's why we haven't seen more cases. Is they're not testing unless somebody chooses to test. When Major League Baseball has the issues that they had flying all over the country after 4 days of starting the season,
yep,
there has to have been more issues. That being said, if people aren't sick, if they're not showing symptoms, maybe it's not worth stopping a season for. I don't want to see anything to happen in my NASCAR season. I want it to keep going. But, it's concerning, I guess, is the best thing.
NASCAR is temperature checking and doing all that stuff, but that's not testing. Like the NBA, the NBA and the NHL, so far so good.
Yeah.
But the NBA is playing scrimmages, and they've had a.
Well, the NHL had scrimmages today, too.
Yeah, and the NBA has been at it for about a week of actual games.
Yep.
Not scrimmages. They are what they are.
Right.
The real games start this week. So we'll see. And the NBA keeps testing, and they're reporting zeros, and the bubble is working.
Yeah.
But if you're
I want to be in the bubble, man. I was reading about the NHL bubble. It seems awesome.
Yeah, the NBA bubble seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And they've got players like sneaking out to go to the strip clubs.
Of course they do.
It's like funny stuff. But if they do get out, they have to quarantine for like 10 days or whatever it is. So.
No, the NHL's got like a whole hotel, like the whole floor is that teams.
Yep, that's what the NBA is doing too. Yeah,
they got game rooms and stuff. They've got like a whole arena. they have the arena that they're playing in, but then they have like a full size like football stadium that they have to do stuff in too. And
Yeah.
it seems pretty awesome. And
I think
they're there without their families, even better. No, I'm just kidding.
Isn't your wife in the house?
She's in the other room. She
I was
hasn't
gonna
shut the
say,
podcast. She's probably going to unplug the Wi-Fi now. So
That's hilarious. That's good. Yeah, I was gonna say though, I think yeah, you're right about NASCAR. I don't know, you know, I'm sure we've had some COVID cases run through, but not to the point where it's being noticed quite a lot.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a good thing. I don't know.
yeah,
But if you're like football, for example, you're got to be worried.
oh yeah,
Got to be worried. And that's a lot more. That's a lot more people than baseball.
yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, let's get off that so we can stop talking about it, so you don't get mad at me.
COVID.
So we heard an interesting rumor this past weekend about the 48 car, and the rumor is that they may move Alex Bowman to the 48 car and shut down the 88 team, which was not something that I'd heard. And this is really interesting. So we've lumped this into another story. Jayski has his 2021 team chart posted on the site now. The link is in the show notes at thesuperspeedway.com if you want to check it out. James and I spent our pre-podcast going through the list.
The pre-pod diaries.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. But yeah, I mean, we've all been under the assumption that we need to fill this 48 seat and that there's an open seat at Hendrick, but maybe there's not an open seat at Hendrick. So this really turns things on its head. And the thing that I wanted to draw attention to is not only that this would be a big seat for current drivers, but there are some talented drivers in the wings waiting to come to the Cup Series. We've talked about Noah Gragson. Obviously, he needs a couple more years to gel, but you got someone like Harrison Burton that's ready. He's ready to come up to the Cup Series. Austin Cindric is ready to come to the Cup Series. These are two guys that are going to be here potentially next year. Yeah, Chase Briscoe. Yeah.
He's probably the best version, yeah.
Between next year and the year after, these guys are going to be in the Cup Series. So where are they going to go?
We cannot lose a Hendrick car.
No,
that is disturbing to me.
Yeah.
If Hendrick goes to 3, boy, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, we can't have a field full of Gaunt brothers and Rick Wares and we need top end teams. And if Hendrick's going to go to 3, boy. That would, but maybe the model's broken, Eric. Maybe 4 is not the way to go for some of these teams anymore.
I don't know.
I mean, I know Gibbs is making it work. Penske's got their version of 4, but boy, yeah, to lose a Hendrick seat would be devastating.
Yeah, it'd be a big deal.
That's a race-winning team,
right?
That would be out of the series.
Yep. Yeah, race-winning team, the winningest team in the series over the last 20 years.
And we already lost a Cup championship team out of the series. We're one less championship contending team recently. So yeah, to lose another like that would be just a big blow. I'd hate to see it.
Yeah.
But definitely good for Bowman
definitely.
The car's sponsored. So I know Bowman's been struggling with sponsorship, but I wonder if it comes down to Ally saying who they want in that seat, and if they want Bowman, then I don't know what you do.
Man, that's nothing against Alex Bowman, but just the excitement of who's going to get that ride, and then it goes in house. I mean, not even that. It's just like that's not a change. That's just eliminating a team.
Well, it's when they brought him in to replace Junior. I thought the same thing too. He's fine. He's done well.
At least that's somebody replacing a ride. You know what I mean? It's not against Alex Bowman. It's just the fact that this is one of those dominoes that could have a rippling effect through the whole series. And if it's gone, it's not.
It's exciting.
Those guys like us that like the silly season, it's not as fun when it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and it's exciting to think of what Brad Keselowski could do there, or before everything went down.
He's not going anywhere.
No, I don't think so anymore either. But we thought it, and Kyle Larson too.
Yeah.
Before everything went down, it was exciting to think about, who could replace Jimmy Johnson. Not very often does the greatest driver of all time leave a seat.
Right.
Yeah.
So
exactly. It's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. It's like Jeff Gordon. When Jeff Gordon left, they brought in Chase Elliott. That was cool.
Yep.
But we knew that was coming too. But that's just that's the thing. I get excited about the silly season. I love the team chart. We were talking before the pod. Love when the team chart comes out because it's got a bunch of good gossip and whatever's going on in there. So I eat that stuff up.
Yeah, silly season.
One of my favorite things.
I live for silly season. I love it.
Yeah,
I love the fact that we get silly season almost all year round now. Of course, this year COVID screwed it up like everything else. But
yeah, and we were so excited about this potential free agency for some of these drivers, and it's just since Larson and COVID, and it's just became a complete dumpster fire.
Yep.
And it's sad. It bums me out.
I agree.
I want more from my silly season.
Just scrolling through the team chart, James. Anything jump out at you that's worth mentioning on the pod?
Yeah, there was a couple of funny ones in there, like the list of drivers for the 48.
Yeah.
I made me laugh. Like it's like 5 guys or 6 guys deep. Learned a little bit about Kurt Busch being signed through 2021. So it looks like, yeah, he's good to go there. The Austin Dillon thing made me laugh because it just says no reason to believe Dillon will not return.
Right.
That's pretty funny. Other than that, not a whole lot brewing on there. I didn't see Kyle Larson's name with any of the Stewart-Haas cars on there, which is interesting. But Kyle Larson did come out this week and say he's not, hasn't really been talking to anybody either. So
yeah, let's jump into that.
Quote unquote, right?
Yeah, he hasn't been talking, but I'm sure his agents have been talking.
Sure, exactly.
Kyle doesn't talk to anybody. He just signs the paperwork.
He's driving 9 days a week.
Right.
That's all he's doing.
That's such BS that they're not looking at anything.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. Kyle Larson will be in a car next year.
If you got, you've got bills to pay and you're telling me you're not looking for the best opportunity, I don't know.
Dude, if you're running the way he's running the Dirt Series right now, and there's not somebody in Cup going to bring him in, somebody's missing something big time here.
Tony Stewart's had that conversation.
Oh yeah,
he's had that conversation.
Yep. There's a reason that Boyer's politicking.
Yeah, and just because Chevy denounced Kyle Larson, Ford never. Ford could still pick him up.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see. I think he'll be driving in 2021.
And when you're a sponsor, and trophies talk, at a certain point, the trophies. I mean, there's a reason that M&M's is still on Kyle Busch's car.
That's right.
It's not because of his winning personality.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I mean, when M&M's didn't leave permanently after the Ron Hornaday incident, that just goes to show you that you can get out of these things. I mean, Kyle Larson served his time now, and it's time to move on.
Tony Stewart was rampaging through media centers and punching people and all sorts of stuff, and Home Depot didn't leave him.
Right.
Because he was winning championships, right? So.
Yep. Exactly.
And if Kyle Larson's doing what he's doing right now, somebody's going to take notice. Some sponsor somewhere will. I don't know. We are in a much different time, and what he did is pretty bad. But,
yes, that's true.
But you just look elsewhere in this country and see people who shouldn't be in different places, and they're doing just fine.
Enough has happened at this point that I think nobody would bat an eye. I mean, it's still good. Let's just. Not discuss it till the season's over. Start,
yes.
During the off season, make the announcement. But I don't think anybody would bat an eye.
And we'll do the thing. I'm a changed man, and this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it before.
Yep,
we've seen it before.
Yep. And then keep the microphones away from them. Don't let them go on.
No iRacing.
Yeah, no iRacing. No live streams.
Yes.
No team chat. None of that stuff.
None of that.
So.
Yeah. No texting.
Yeah, exactly. Stay off social media, which he's already working on that. So,
yes.
Junior Motorsports extends sponsors for Noah Gregson's car for the rest of 2020. I guess I didn't realize they were in sponsorship trouble on that.
Yeah,
team.
I don't know if it was necessarily trouble. I think it's just locking him in on a higher level than what he previously had. So
my biggest curiosity for Gregson is where is he at next year? Does he get another? Yeah. Does he get a third year at Junior Motorsports? Does he go to a different team? Does he get kicked to the curb?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he'll get. I think he's got enough talent that he's still going to be in the series. But I'm curious because Junior, I mean, I guess Allgaier and Annette have been there forever, but
Yeah.
but Gregson's seat tends to be the development seat. And so I guess that if the plan is still to develop him, then they continue with him, but they might be looking for somebody else
Well,
to develop.
does he move over to Richard Childress with that Bass Pro sponsorship? You know,
Right.
they have a nice little relationship there. So, you know,
That's
there's
true.
some opportunities for him. He's gonna you know, there's ties. He'll find the place somewhere.
Yeah, Gregson's
didn't
got
Reddick
some
do
wins
that?
this year. He's in the hunt for the championship. I don't think he goes. He's not done. He'll be somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the Xfinity Series,
didn't
we don't
Tyler-
know until off season. Usually is when they start signing contracts.
Exactly.
For these guys,
Later in the
there is
offseason.
no silly
Yeah.
season for Xfinity.
Didn't Tyler Reddick go from Junior Motorsports
Yep.
to Richard Childress?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and that's off a championship. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
Junior's not afraid to bring in the next guy. So
Nope.
we'll see.
Nope. So, and yeah, I mean, Junior's about development and keeping that team going, and isn't worried about taking those guys and putting them in his cup car because he doesn't have a cup car. So,
Exactly.
and I mean, there's some affiliation with Hendrick there, but he certainly doesn't seem to be.
He's not going to Cup right now.
It doesn't seem like Junior's necessarily the breeding ground for Hendrick.
Right.
There's definitely a working relationship there, but he's not a breeding ground for that company. It's not like the Gibbs cars or KBM to Gibbs. You know what I mean? It's a different situation there. So
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson finally got to test his Indy car.
Yeah, with Scott Dixon on hand.
Yep, Dixon was there to help him out all 5-time.
Yeah.
Give him
Ran some
7
laps
times
on
the
the Indy,
pointers.
on the IndyCar or in the Indy road course. So that
Yep.
was cool.
Yep, just finished up a few hours ago, actually.
Yeah,
So,
and go to Instagram. You can see some of his stories and stuff around there. So
Yep.
it was cool.
Yep, cool.
Very cool.
Finally got to get it done. 3rd time's a charm. So
Exactly. No COVID problems this time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were wearing masks, so
Yes.
good.
Yep. Everybody's fine. And he had a really cool racing suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the old school stuff.
I can't wait to see Jimmy Johnson in an Indy car next year. I hope he wins.
Yeah, his post NASCAR career will be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I hope we see a lot of Jimmy. Speaking of post NASCAR careers, so I don't have a story to link to or anything, but there's been some more additional details that have come out over the past couple weeks about Tony Stewart and Ray Evernham's new series, SRX?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I don't know if you saw the image of the car, James, but it's got a massive splitter on the front, which is
It
disgusting.
does have a big splitter on there. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah.
Completely disgusting. But so Evernham talked. First of all, there's only one driver so far confirmed for the series, and that's Tony Stewart, which will make James happy. And
Can't lose if you're the only guy out there.
right, they're looking at 10 to 12 cars. It is going to be very similar to IROC, except that they'll basically draw for cars and draw for crew chiefs, and the crew chief will help them set up, and they'll have limited adjustments that they can make, which they didn't have in IROC. They couldn't make any adjustments to the cars in IROC. So you'll be able to tailor the car a little bit more to yourself. It's going to be short tracks, and their intention is not to compete with NASCAR. So there was talk that maybe some part-time drivers, Hall of Fame drivers, retired drivers, maybe up and coming drivers would participate in the series. So, Jimmy Johnson made me think of that. Jimmy would be a perfect one to be running in the series.
Yeah,
So,
and I think they're going to run Eldora too on the dirt, if I'm
Really?
not mistaken.
I know
Yeah,
that-
I
they
think they're gonna be
mentioned a
all
couple
over.
short tracks and then maybe like a mock road course. It sounded like, so I don't know what that means, but
I'm excited about this series. It's going to be cool.
I mean,
Hopefully.
I didn't realize that Evernham worked with IROC too. That was
Oh,
interesting
yeah.
to know. So that
Yeah, that's cool.
He had
Yeah.
a part with IROC, so he got to witness what didn't work there, and hopefully will help this succeed where IROC didn't.
I've always
So-
wanted IROC to come back.
Oh,
so
me
this
too.
is,
IROC was my favorite series. I've been to 2 IROC races live, and neither one had a caution. And you know me and cautions and wrecks, they were still the 2 best races. Well, they were the 2 best races I've ever seen until we got to see the trucks at Eldora. But
Right. Yeah.
so they both at Michigan, both terrific races, and I love the IROC series. So
Were you at the Dale and Dale show, the junior versus senior?
I
Is
was
that one of
not
them?
at the junior versus senior. I don't believe.
That's
I
an
can't-
incredible race.
Yeah, I
If-
can't
if
remember which
you're if you're
ones.
new to NASCAR and you don't know
Oh,
about that
yeah.
race, just look up Dale Earnhardt Senior versus Dale Earnhardt Jr. at MIS 1999.
Yep.
It's worth the watch. We won't spoil it for you if you don't know what that is.
Right. Good stuff.
It's really great.
I think the only other thing in the news, NBC Sports announced today that Brad Doherty is joining the analyst team. There weren't a whole lot of details in the announcement. I think he's joining for the Michigan weekend. I think it has to do with the fact that NBC is going to be split between Michigan and Road America, which is right. Road America is the track that they're.
Yeah. Xfinity will be out that way.
Because so normally Road America in the Xfinity Series races don't they race? I don't know. It's not usually. Maybe it is an NBC race normally. Yeah, it is. Never mind. It is an
should
NBC
be. Yeah,
race.
NBC should have all the Xfinity races now.
Anyway, the last thing that that NBC needs is another person in the booth. So I don't know what they're going to do here, but like I said, with split crews, that probably has a lot to do with it. James, I don't know about you, but
and they're going to be doing a lot of this from North Carolina. I'm assuming, right?
I would assume that's a good point. Yeah, I guess the same team could.
Yeah, they're not traveling, but if there's anything going on at the same time, they'll have plenty of voices to be heard.
James, I don't know about you, but I know they're just a couple races in, but these NBC broadcasts have been just atrocious.
I thought they've been fine.
God, I can't stand them.
Eric, I want to reserve judgment on any
I know.
Two.
Yeah, but the thing is, I get
they are doing this. They are doing this remotely,
but so was Fox.
Yeah, but Jeff and Mike were in the same room.
They're in the same room. They're just in the tower at.
I know it's just
Charlotte. I mean,
it's just tough. I don't know. It's just tough with.
I hope it gets better, but I don't want to critique too much on the air.
I tell you what. Find a baseball game on TV right now and watch that, and tell me how bad NBC's doing, because I tuned in just to check it out. I've watched 2 innings of baseball, and that's my allotment for the year, so I'm good. And it's really bad. Really bad.
I don't remember what game I had on Friday during the day, and it sounded like a normal baseball game to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound. I was listening to ESPN. It was really bad the other day. They're talking over each other like we do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's been awful, but hopefully it gets better.
I think the insight that NBC provides is still top notch.
I just think there's too many damn people.
Yeah, they got a lot going on. Our 4-man booth is ridiculous.
It's too much. You got 2 guys that sound alike.
Yeah,
one of them that decides that the way he's going to sound different is by screaming at the top of his lungs the entire broadcast.
What if we substituted Jeff Burton for Ward Burton? Would that be
Well, I definitely wouldn't get him confused with Steve Letarte. It's not Ward Burton, it's Ward Burton. Come on, there's no R in his word in his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, good for Brad Doherty. I will say
he's a good
that
voice. I like him.
He hopefully will bring some calmness to the broadcast because he's got a very calming voice. Love listening to him on Sirius. So yeah, I like Brad.
He's a good.
He'll be
dude,
good.
Man.
The only complaint is that it's yet another partial team owner that's in the broadcast booth. But I mean, we've had this all through NASCAR. I don't consider the guys calling the race journalists. They're not covering the news. They're calling the race.
Yeah, it's different.
If they were writing articles for NASCAR.com or Winston Cup scene back in the day or whatever, then yeah, I would say no, that's uncalled for. But they're not. These guys aren't writing articles. They're broadcasting the race. Bob Pockrass doesn't own a team.
Yeah, and we're letting drivers call races too.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah, it's never really bothered me.
No, I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, if you were to get rid of that, we'd lose half of our broadcast. I mean, Jeff Gordon is an owner. Part of Hendrick.
Yep.
You got Junior. Burton is not impartial. His kid's out there racing. His nephew's racing.
For Gibbs. Yep.
Yeah, I mean...
Michael Waltrip was an owner, and he broadcast for years.
Yep. So, yeah.
And now he's soliciting dates on Twitter. So
yeah, how about that? Holy cow.
I thought I dropped that.
That was weird. All right, we won't dig into that too much, but that was weird. Very weird.
I figured I wanted to see if I could sneak that in here somehow, and I found my opening. So there you go. I shot my shot.
That's what dental surgery. It was funner than this.
There you go.
There you go. KFB.
Yeah. All right. Any other news, James? Did we miss anything?
No, I think we nailed it, dude.
I jumped around a little bit, so I think I got it all in there.
Yep, we covered it. We covered it.
With that, we go to New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. I can't remember. Are there fans of this one? There's not fans of this one, right?
No fans. No, there are. Yes,
Are there?
there's a handful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 19,000, I think.
Okay. 19,000 New Hampshire would probably be about half full.
It's going to be a full race.
Last race, both James and I came out with 1 point each. I picked Harvick over his Chase Elliott, and James picked Tyler Reddick over my Christopher Bell. So I lead still 22-21 after 19 races.
Dang, I can't break through.
And with that, James gets the first pick at New Hampshire, which means I get first dark horse pick, which that's good.
Yeah, you're gonna be. Yeah, that's gonna be good.
Who are you going with at New Hampshire, James? Nobody stands out to me here. Why is that?
But I think I'm gonna go with a guy who's won fairly recently here, and he's won a lot. I'll take Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I figured you were gonna go with him.
Yeah, I think I'll be good with that pick. He's not been so great in the last 3 races, but I'll take the momentum he's bringing. I think Harvick's going to be really good here too. Obviously, I mean they're the best 2 guys this season so far, but Kyle Busch has been pretty dominant here recently. But yeah, I'll take Ham to get it done, and at least get me the point, the valuable point that I need.
Well, except that I picked Kevin Harvick, so.
Yeah, I know.
Because, I mean, you said the driver that's won here recently. Well, Denny's got 1 win in the last 4 races here, and Harvick has 2. So
Harvick has 2, yeah.
But Kyle Busch also has 1.
But KB does, and KB's got the best average finish.
Yeah.
Harvick's way down there on the average finish chart. I think he had an engine or something in one of those races where where it docked him recently. But yeah, he's as good as It's a good track for him. This is kind of a Phoenix-ish preview, with the horsepower and the flatness of the track. So, he's gonna be. Yeah, Kevin's gonna be good.
All right. I really want to do something other than Dark Horse because Dark Horse just doesn't seem to work anymore. But I don't know how to change it, and I don't.
Long shot?
I don't know, James. There's such a discrepancy in that part of the field that it's really tough. And so I guess we'll just
fringe contender.
We'll just keep it going the way it's been going. Unless do we want to? I mean, we could always limit it to only drivers that are outside of the top 16.
Like a point standings.
Would you be comfortable doing that, making that change in the middle of the season?
They have to be outside of the playoffs.
They have to be outside of the playoffs, and that's the predicted playoffs. So.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right,
let's make that rule. Let
me pull that up then before I make my pick because I think that negates the pick that I was going to make. So, but that's okay. Let's see where NASCAR.com is so terrible. It's like depending on what device you're on, it just looks different. Okay, so top 16. So. Matt DiBenedetto, William Byron, Kurt Busch, Clint Boyer, those guys are all out. You can't pick them. Man, at least Tyler Reddick available, though. Do I pick Tyler Reddick?
I mean, you got the first pick on the dark horse.
And I mean, if we're going to do this, then do we then say that Eric Jones is out? Does he become a dark horse now?
He's a win. No, because he's a race. He's
so if they've
multiple race
if they've
winner.
Won a race, then they also
if
don't
you win
qualify.
A race, you're out. Yeah,
so they have to be out of the top 16, and they can't have won a race.
Yeah, and we have the Matt DiBenedetto rule too, which he might be slipping back in. I don't know.
He's in right now. He's in the 16th spot according to NASCAR.com.
Yeah, he's getting close to getting back into the dark horse area.
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
so
in that case,
you're taking Reddick.
Yeah, I'm going to take Reddick. I'll just take Reddick.
Oh man,
for the record, I was going to take William Byron.
Yeah,
but he's in the top 16 right now. See, I just don't like this dark horse thing because you either have the guys that are too good to be dark horses or just garbage.
Right.
Because the guys that are on the edge are too good now.
Yeah. So the only other thing I can combat you with is I'll take Chris Bell.
That's a good one. Which is what we've been doing. We've just been alternating those each week.
Yeah. Well, we got points on the line, so we gotta figure it out. But yeah, I'll
guys,
take Chris Bell.
If you're listening and you can come up with a way for us to do this dark horse pick that seems more fair and makes it, I don't know, better pick. Because I really hate making the pick every week.
We used to make a lot of big reaches before points were involved.
Yeah, the points.
Now we're trying to beat each other.
Points definitely ruins it. I guess we could always just get rid of the points for Dark Horse and only have points for.
I'm not letting you do that until I'm in the lead.
You got to get a win with your Dark Horse yet.
I know. Dang it. Which that was actually a legit Dark Horse.
Yeah, it was legit. There was no cheating on that one.
There was no way about it. That was legit.
Kyle Larson could come back right now and win a race and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, with a waiver.
That's true, yeah.
He'd have to have his way. He'd have to have his stupid waiver, but yes, he could.
Yeah, the waiver's stupid. But he's 33rd in points right now. He's only it doesn't tell me how far out he is.
He's ran 4 races. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Ryan Preece is 31st. So Ryan Preece is only 2 spots ahead of Kyle Larson.
Ryan Preece finished last for how many weeks in a row?
That's true.
Yeah. It was basically like he didn't show up for a while.
All right, Fantasy League. I know I sucked again this week.
Yeah. I actually I thought I had a better week. Yeah, you're in a bit of a rough stretch. I thought I had a better week, but
my rough stretch is called the 2020 season.
Yeah,
every other season.
I went for it this week because I thought, I want to try to make up some ground.
So did
I had an awesome week, and I still only finished 4th. Justin 713 was our winner by 1 point over Ranger Runyon, and then Denny the Many was top 3, and then myself, and then Freight Train 295 was behind me in 5th. Eric, you beat Barron, so you're right there. Yeah, so good work. Overall standings, I'll give you the top 5. Freight Train, Denny the Many, Ranger Runyon, all under a blanket. And then Justin 713 and myself are kind of in a weird spot. Eric, I finally got 100 points ahead of you, so that's positive.
Yeah.
There you go. You're in 6th.
Stupid.
It sucks.
Whole thing's stupid.
I know. We hate it every week.
Yep, every week. James, got any shout outs today?
I was going to shout out the J-Ski thing, but we already did that. I was trying to think of anything else I had seen recently. Bob Pockris on Twitter said his wife had a bout with COVID and kind of told her story a little bit, and it was kind of scary.
Yeah. So
good to see everybody's healthy and doing well there. So I guess I'll use that as my shout out. Glad to see everybody's doing okay over at the Pockris house.
Definitely. I'll just piggyback on you and say hopefully everyone's doing good there. I don't have anything this week. I don't know. Haven't been too into the NASCAR stuff this week for some reason, but it's weird. It's weird having a race on Thursday.
Yeah, you and I were texting about that, and it was Eric. The race was almost a week ago. We probably should get the podcast in.
Right.
So, there's no other shout outs I have really. I mean, it's been actually pretty quiet. We were looking through the news. I'm surprised we got as long winded as we did today because there was not a quiet week.
I'm not surprised.
Everybody kind of went on vacation.
All the news will break tomorrow now that we did the podcast.
Exactly.
Tonight,
yep.
So.
That's never ends, never fails.
James, where can they find you on social media if they want to reach out to you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcasts on there, links to old episodes, links to the show notes. You can find all the articles we talked about today. And check those out. There's also past coverage, past interviews, things like that on there. So check that out, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. And if you want to become a part of the show and help us out, you can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. With that, guys, we go to New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend for the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. We are clicking down toward the tail end of the regular season, starting to think about playoffs, starting to think about who's going to make it in and who's not. It won't be long now. We'll be talking playoff racing and getting into the postseason. Until then, we'll be back next week to discuss New Hampshire and preview the next one. Let's go racing.